Part 85. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 841. He had experienced many wars and things. He had survived for more than hundreds of thousands of years, and countless years had accumulated a lot of knowledge and insights. He was very sensitive to the weird. He grasped the difference of the weird power in an instant. As the contract was signed, the note burned to ashes in an instant. A strange power connected him and Lin Yi. He was surprised to find the power of the weird nature. But this power just entangled me and had no effect on me. This is completely different from the weird items we used in the past. The Void Fate Committee had encountered contract-type weird items before. But all weird items have the same problem. Once in contact for a long time, they will be infected by the weird. This weirdness is gradual, dripping through the stone, eroding bit by bit. It is so slow that it is almost imperceptible, and one day, it will suddenly complete the complete erosion of the weirdness. The result is that the infected will turn into weirdness in an instant, and there is no way to save the situation. Then the area where the infected person is located will cause an indelible disaster. And this type of contract is the most dangerous. Because once the contract is signed, the strange power will always surround the user. The strange power will not disappear until the contract ends. After the strange power disappears, the person who signed the contract is not safe. The strangeness has entangled him and will continue to affect him. His mind will have problems and will hide in the other person's body very secretly. If the signs of infection can be found earlier, there are still some ways in the Void Fate Committee to expel it. But once this infection invades the spiritual and soul level, the Void Fate Committee has no way. They can only watch this person continue to fall into the abyss, and finally fall completely and become a member of the weird. Ren Wudi used a contract-type weird item a long time ago. He knows very well the feeling of being surrounded by this weird essence. But the weird essence that appeared around him at the moment of signing the contract just now was completely different from that time. Without the omnipresent erosion, the strange power of the contract this time, like a circle of water, quietly wrapped him, and did not erode his body. Lin Yi's voice sounded in his ears. The contract is signed, so now come to fulfill your wish. First, do you have any items or auras of your companions, as well as their portraits and other things? The more comprehensive the things you provide, the greater the probability of finding them. Ren Wudi nodded and said, each of us left each other's things. There are also special items for communication. They are all the latest products, but after we separated, I used them once and they didn't work. They may have encountered something that cut off this connection. I can't sense their existence at all. As he said this, he raised his hand and waved it, and a beautiful triangular crystal appeared in front of him, as well as some different items. The strange world is very unpredictable. It is full of disorder here, and anything can happen. This triangular crystal is an item held by everyone in our team. This is a communication item that has been tested and can be used in the strange world. As long as you put your spirit, telekinesis, everything, and the extended power of the soul level into it, you can sense other team members. This set is 5, and the other 4 are on my teammates. But it can't contact them. I speculate that they are very likely to fall in some special place and block this communicator. As he said, he took out some things. These things are their respective items. Basically, each of us has learned some calculation methods to find other people. This is a second-hand preparation in this strange place. But if they fall in some special place, I am not sure I can rescue them. So I hope you can help me rescue them. Ren Wudi did not hide anything, and calmly told his thoughts and plans. Lin Yi nodded, very well prepared. Let's look at mine next. Do you have their portraits? Ren Wudi raised his hand slightly, and a faint power gushed out. 4 illusory figures appeared in front of him. Looking at the appearance of these figures, Lin Yi remembered their faces. Two of them were non-human races. One was a woman with blue skin all over her body, but her hair was all tiny snakes, just like Medusa in Greek mythology. The person next to him had a hideous head, similar to a lizard, wearing black armor, holding a big knife in his hand, and his body was covered with scales. The other two people, a fairy-like man, holding a light blue sword in his hand, a golden mark on his forehead, and a very handsome appearance. The other one was also a woman. Her whole body was shrouded in a faint mist, that was the mist of the soul, and the strong soul fluctuations kept flashing on her body. My companions all come from different worlds. Some of them practice the method of immortality, some of them practice the method of soul cultivation, and there are other systems. Everyone is very powerful, not much worse than me. Every time you stay in this weird place, the danger will increase. My sense is that we've been falling here for quite some time. I hope you can help me find them as soon as possible. Ren Wudi's face gradually became serious and he said. Lin Yi nodded, don't worry, I can do it. Then, the triangular crystal placed on Lin Yi's desk and some other items disappeared. In the bedroom, Lin Yi's human immortal clone began to use the calculation method. An illusory Tai Chi Bagua appeared in front of him. One breath after another from these items was inhaled. Then Tai Chi Bagua evolved into a Bagua mirror, and some pictures began to appear in the mirror. 4 figures appeared in a strange wet cave. They looked serious and were fighting various strange beings rushing towards them in the cave. A formation exuding a faint mist enveloped them. Help them resist attacks from strange beings from all sides. But looking at their appearance, each one of them has more or less various scars on their body. Apparently they can't last much longer. The screen began to zoom up and they began to zoom out rapidly. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 842. The latest chapter of the Wanchai Wu I Created is updated the fastest. The screen stretched, the dark cave and the 4 people disappeared quickly, and then a huge island appeared in the screen, surrounded by an endless ocean. The black water was everywhere, and there was a dead silence. This picture appeared in Lin Yi's sight, which surprised him a little. The island that appeared in the ocean was very strange, and the appearance was completely black. Like a volcano, it was high and sunken in the middle. When Lin Yi stretched the Bagua mirror, he could see a strange scene. The volcano was too symmetrical, and it looked very strange no matter how he looked at it. Because of the Bagua mirror, Lin Yi could not use the true destiny solution to observe the truth of the volcano. He could only continue to stretch the entire Bagua mirror, and he was looking for the location of the Wanchai Wu. Soon, the traces of the Wanchai Wu appeared in the Bagua mirror, and a light spot flashed with a hazy glow. He immediately determined the specific location of himself and the volcano-like creation. Then this information appeared in the mind of Lin Yi's blue star clone. Lin Yi smiled slightly, looking at the invincible man in front of him and said, I have found your companions, let's go save them now. He stood up and walked to the door of the Wanchai Wu. Ren Wudi was surprised. He didn't expect Lin Yi to find his companions so quickly. The door of the Wanchai Wu and the arbitrary door are integrated. Click. The arbitrary door slowly opened, and there was a dark space opposite. Several shining figures can be seen, shrouded in a mist, fighting a group of strange creatures. These creatures are very powerful, and there is no lack of dangerous existence of the earth immortal way among them. The opening of the Wanchai Wu door instantly alarmed the 2 groups of people who were fighting. The 4 people who were in a bitter battle looked at the invincible man standing behind Lin Yi in the Wanchai Wu, and they all showed joy on their faces. Among them, the woman with a head full of thin snakes like Medusa shouted with a smile on her face, it's the captain is here to save us. Ren Wudi's face changed and he was about to rush out, but Lin Yi stretched out his hand to stop him. Don't worry, since the contract has been signed, I will rescue them. As he said this, Lin Yi had already stepped out. A huge cold and strange aura permeated the entire world, filled with ruthless murderous intent and corrosive power everywhere. One strange being after another set their eyes on Lin Yi. These strange beings looked very strange. They looked like insects, with narrow and long bodies, and thick arms and legs growing on both sides, which were similar to human hands and feet. There was a layer of carapace on the back, and under the carapace were insect-like wings. Their heads were a hideous mass, composed of countless tentacles. In the middle of the tentacles was a sharp round mouth part, full of teeth, without anything else. These monsters had no eyes, but they all looked at Lin Yi. This cave was very vast, and there were densely packed around, with hundreds of strange beings. Among them, there were about 4 or 5 at the level of Earth Immortal Deo, and they just beat the 4 members of the invincible team in pain. These strange beings were incredibly fast, and the 4 people formed a formation to hold on until now. A layer of hazy light on the ground enveloped them, and they hid in it and fought with these strange beings. At this time, this layer of mist light had become very dim. Lin Yi's True Destiny solution saw the effect of this mist light at a glance. It has a certain degree of suppression effect, which can limit the power of the enemy who breaks into it. And this is why they have persisted until now. At this time, all these strange beings have set their sights on Lin Yi. The next moment, they rushed towards Lin Yi. Their arms are thick and their fingers are sharp. As long as they are hit, there will be 5 holes. But when they rushed towards Lin Yi in a swarm, something strange happened. Lin Yi seemed to be non-existent, and the monsters rushing towards him from all sides directly collided with each other. With Lin Yi as the center, a circle of dark distortion slowly appeared. In this distortion, everything is collapsing, and reality is being affected. These strange beings are the same. All the guys who are not at the level of Earth Immortal power, their bodies began to twist unnaturally in an instant. They were not dead, but the distortion of their bodies made them lose their fighting power and fall directly to the ground. It was not until Lin Yi walked through these strange beings that fell to the ground that these strange beings slowly returned to normal. It seemed that the power of the outside world was repairing the distortion and abnormality of their bodies. This strange scene shocked everyone. They had never seen such power. Even Ren Wudi took a breath. As a member of the Void Fate Committee, he had seen countless strong men. But he had never seen the strange power that Lin Yi possessed. Those strange monsters with the power level of the Earth Immortal Deo seemed to realize that Lin Yi was not easy to mess with. They slowly surrounded him, a total of 4 heads. All of Lin Yi's retreat routes were directly blocked from front to back and left to right. Their heads covered with tentacles slowly opened, revealing their dark mouth parts. The black light permeated in them, and the next moment, 4 rays of light shot towards Lin Yi in the twisted evil field. This light was dark and full of strange breath. Everyone who saw this light instinctively felt the danger. Each of them smelled the smell of death. Ren Wudi shouted loudly, "Be careful." But Lin Yi just calmly looked at the 4 black light attacks coming towards him. The twisted evil field trembled in an instant. Everything inside became more twisted, and the ground, air, and space were all spinning like a vortex. From the outside, Lin Yi seemed to be wrapped in countless twisted vortices at this time. And these lights that shot into the field also hit these twists in an instant. These lights passed through one twist after another, but every time they passed through a twisted vortex. These lights seemed to be affected. In the process of continuous influence, the light finally turned into a twisted ball. Then all the lights deviated from Lin Yi's position. Finally, they hit the ground or shot into the sky, and Lin Yi was unharmed. Lin Yi looked at this scene, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and he was very happy. Because the martial arts system on Blue Star can finally be used. Combined with his spiritual wave, it exerted amazing power. He easily resisted the attack of the strange existence. The next moment, he moved his feet slightly, shrinking the ground into an inch. In a flash, he arrived in front of the strange existence in front of him. A palm landed lightly on the opponent's chest. The terrifying distortion field was instantly injected into the opponent's body, causing crazy destruction. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 843. The next moment, before this strange existence could react, its body collapsed violently inward. A twisted mass appeared inside its body, madly absorbing all the substances in its body. Crack, crack, crack. The strange sound continued to ring, and this strange thing felt the threat of death. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. It burst out all the strange power in its body in an instant, trying to resist this distortion. But unfortunately, its strange power could not wipe out Lin Yi's attack. It can be seen with the naked eye that this guy turned into a twisted object in the next moment. At the same time, the moment it turned into a twisted object, the huge force field seemed to tear this twisted thing into pieces. A faint spiritual wave of light permeated from this force field. Directly turned these fragments into ashes. A pure strange power was sucked into Lin Yi's body. At this time, the other three strange beings of the earthly immortal level have already pounced on him. They are as fast as lightning, almost teleporting. But as soon as they get close to Lin Yi, they will be greatly affected. Everything around Lin Yi is twisting, and they will be affected by the twisting when they rush into it. Even their bodies will begin to bend unnaturally, which undoubtedly greatly affects their speed. This change attracted everyone's attention, and they all looked at Lin Yi in astonishment. At this time, Lin Yi was like walking in the garden, and his steps were like ghosts. In an instant, he appeared behind a strange being. He gently slapped its head. He turned his feet and appeared behind the third strange being. The same scene, almost without any time interval, as if teleporting. At this time, the fourth strange being has discovered the problem. A black light shot towards the third strange being. The light penetrated the body of the third strange being and shot towards Lin Yi behind it. At this time, the surroundings were still in Lin Yi's distorted domain. This ray of light was subjected to various twists and bends, but because the distance was too close, this bending had a limit. After the light penetrated the chest of the third strange being, it also penetrated Lin Yi's chest at the same time. At the moment when the light was shot out, Ren Wudi exclaimed, "Be careful." The four rescued people also exclaimed to varying degrees, with horror on their faces. But Ren Wudi's reminder was too late, and the timing of the fourth strange being's attack was very clever. It happened to be when Lin Yi appeared behind the third strange being. Lin Yi's sight was completely blocked by the third strange being. But something happened that surprised everyone. Lin Yi, who was shot through by the light, raised his head and looked at the fourth strange being with indifference. There was no damage on his chest, as if what had just hit him was just an illusion. His body flashed and disappeared behind the third strange being. His figure was like a shadow, crossing a distance of several meters and coming directly to the fourth strange being. The fourth strange being had a strong fighting instinct, and its claws had already swung forward, with a huge force that twisted the air. But its attack missed, and Lin Yi appeared on its side at some point. His right hand had already touched its head directly. The next moment, 3 explosions sounded one after another. Bang, bang, bang. The 3 strange beings all exploded in the twisting, and a faint green light flashed by. The 3 shattered bodies turned directly into faint ashes, all spread on the ground, making everyone look horrified. Because they saw that these strange beings were completely killed. Not even the most fundamental strange power remained. The Void Fate Committee has been conducting research on the strange for countless years. It is known that there is a trace of the most fundamental strange power in the strange body. That is something called the essence of the strange. This power will erode everything, from energy, matter, space, to soul, and time, without exception. Someone has tested the danger of this weird nature. Maybe it is something that can affect the eternal existence, making them no longer eternal. Although the eternal existence has never appeared in the world. In just a few seconds, the most powerful weird existences have been eliminated. The four rescued people, including the invincible man, looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. It was like watching a myth. They never thought that the weird existence could be eliminated so easily. Although in the hands of more powerful outsiders, the form of the weird existence can be easily eliminated. But now the power fluctuations exerted by Lin Yi from beginning to end did not exceed those of the five of them. Even the power used was a little weaker than theirs. But it was so easy to eliminate the powerful weird existence. Everyone looked at him in surprise, except for the people in the Wanchai-Wu. At this time, the other weird existences were obviously affected, and they all rushed towards Lin Yi. Like zombies, they were fearless and had no fear at all. But these strange beings that are not even at the level of earthly immortals are like chickens and dogs in front of Lin Yi. They couldn't even reach Lin Yi, they all collapsed and destroyed in the twisted field, and turned into ashes under the power of the spirit wave. It must be said that Lin Yi's strength exceeded their imagination. Everyone just watched quietly, hundreds of strange beings were all destroyed in just 1 minute. Ren Wudi was even more in awe of Lin Yi. This is a mysterious person. Maybe he can be pulled into the Void Fate Committee. At this time, he had walked out of the Wanchai-Wu and walked towards his 4 team members. "Come with me, we are safe for the time being." As he said, Ren Wudi had already led his 4 partners to the Wanchai-Wu. Lin Yi had returned to the door of the Wanchai-Wu and watched them quietly. At this time, the cave suddenly moved. The tremor like an earthquake instantly attracted everyone's attention. The true destiny solution flashed in Lin Yi's eyes, and he caught something in an instant. When he saw the situation around him, a hint of surprise appeared on his face. Because this cave seemed to be a huge strange existence, it seemed to be stimulated at this time. It is waking up quickly from its deep sleep. Ren Wudi's face changed drastically. He felt the powerful and strange power under his feet, and in an instant he thought of something. His 4 companions were the same, and they immediately realized the problem. "We seem to have fallen into the body of a strange being. Go quickly, or we won't be able to leave." Ren Wudi shouted loudly, leading several people to rush to the door of the Wanchai-Wu. In a flash, all 5 of them rushed into the Wanchai-Wu. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 844. The latest chapter of the Wanchai-Wu I Created is updated the fastest. A huge strange fog outside slowly formed, and countless green eyes appeared in the fog. The whole cave was shaking, as if there were thousands of troops. Looking at those densely packed green eyes, everyone trembled in their hearts. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow Diamond Suit. There were countless strange beings that appeared in the strange fog, and I don't know how they came. At this time, they were rushing towards the Wanchai-Wu fiercely, making everyone terrified. At this time, Lin Yi didn't care about their charge at all and closed the door casually. With the door closed, the Wanchai-Wu disappeared here out of thin air. In the hazy fog, countless strange beings all came to nothing. There is nothing here. And this huge cave seemed to feel that its prey had escaped. It roared hugely and angrily. The ocean was shaking violently, and the very symmetrical volcano suddenly rose from the ocean. Where is the crater? It was clearly a huge and unimaginable weird existence. The volcano was clearly its mouth, and its body stretched out at least 1,000 meters from the sea surface, and the huge crater was its mouth parts. Below was a huge neck, which was thousands of meters long. The body behind the neck was an aggregate covered with countless attacks, without a specific form, and was changing all the time. This was a twisted and weird thing that could not be described in words, and the power it exuded was extremely terrifying. Even the existence of the Tianxiandao was as weak as an ant in the face of this extremely terrifying creature. In terms of pure power, this monster has surpassed all the creatures Lin Yi has seen, and can even be compared to the stars. In the Wanchaiwu, as the door closed, everyone slowly breathed a sigh of relief. The snake-haired woman said thankfully, "We are so unlucky. I didn't expect that we were actually swallowed by the strange ancient beast. If you hadn't come to save us, I'm afraid we wouldn't know until we die." Renwoody looked at the snake-haired woman and said calmly, "Fortunately, I met Mr. Lin this time, otherwise I wouldn't have the ability to save you. This time, all of us have a great fortune. Let me introduce you to Mr. Lin, the owner of the Wanchaiwu. You can pay a price and ask him to help us complete some things. It's all thanks to Mr. Lin that we can save you this time." As they said, everyone looked at Lin Yi, with various expressions in their eyes. Most of them were awe, surprise, admiration, and incomprehension. They couldn't understand how Lin Yi did it, and all his actions were so strange. In the Wanchaiwu, the team members of Renwoody looked outside through the French windows. It had become a huge beach and ocean, and it was obvious that they had left the mysterious strange ancient beast. The snake-haired woman looked at Renwoody. "Captain, what should we do next? I'm afraid this mission has failed." Renwoody thought for a while and said, "Let's stop here for this mission and get ready to go back." He said as he looked at Lin Yi, "Mr. Lin, I wonder if you are interested in joining the Void Fate Committee." Hearing Renwoody's invitation, his team members were very surprised. If you want to join the Void Fate Committee, you need a member of the committee as a guarantor. If there is a problem with the person invited to join the Void Fate Committee, the guarantor will also be held jointly liable. But thinking of the various things that this mysterious Mr. Lin did, the four members of Renwoody all understood. It would definitely be beneficial to pull this Mr. Lin into the Void Fate Committee. Lin Yi looked at Renwoody, and several thoughts flashed through his mind. The Void Fate Committee. It should be a powerful force that covers a considerable part of the void. If you join it, there will be certain benefits. You can understand the void better, but there are also disadvantages. After joining this kind of organization, there will definitely be various restrictions and terms. Generally speaking, my Wanchaiwu is already an independent organization. If I join an organization, I will inevitably be affected by this organization. I don't want others to interfere with me. What I pursue is freedom." Thinking of this, he smiled at Renwoody. "No need to join. I don't need to join any organization. This is a way to contact me. If you have any wishes that need to be fulfilled in the future, you can contact me through it." As he said, a note appeared and floated in front of Renwoody. Renwoody took the note in his hand, and a trace of regret flashed in his eyes. This is such a pity. Mr. Lin's power is so great that it can completely eliminate the weirdness. This is the power we urgently need. I wonder if Mr. Lin can teach us this power. We are willing to pay a huge price. Lin Yi's heart moved, but he shook his head and said, "Of course not, this is my bread and butter. If I give it to you, it will not be a good thing for me. And you can't afford the price I want." Lin Yi refused directly, without any room for change. Renwoody heard this and said regretfully, "This is really a pity." Renwoody looked at the four team members behind him, turned his head and looked at Lin Yi and said, "Then thank Mr. Lin for his righteousness this time. We will see each other again next time. Okay, I am also looking forward to our next cooperation." Click. Renwoody opened the door of the Wanchaiwu and walked out with his four teammates. "Conan has returned all his things to him, and you have already got the contract items this time." Standing on the beach, Renwudi took out a mysterious crystal from his hand. There is a wonderful power in this crystal. That is the power of the mind. Lin Yi immediately noticed the essence of this power in his eyes. The next moment, Renwudi crushed the crystal in his hand. The crystal broke, and a brilliant light enveloped him and his 5 team members. This power seemed to distort all the rules in an instant. The next moment, a mysterious hole appeared under their feet. Then the 5 people of Invincible sank into the hole. They simply disappeared in the strange place. Lin Yi saw the whole process, the explosion of mental power, and how it distorted reality. This power shocked Lin Yi. This is an advanced application of mental power. And this mental power is more powerful than imagined. It even completely surpassed the existence of the kings on Blue Star. From the essence of mental power alone, it is more than 3 times stronger than those kings. This mental power comes from some ancient strongman. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 845. The Void Fate Committee. It looks really powerful. Just as Lin Yi was thinking, the outside of the Wanchaiwu changed again. A large number of distortions continued to appear, and the scenery outside was constantly changing. Finally, the familiar street appeared outside again, but there seemed to be something between the street and the Wanchaiwu, which seemed ethereal and empty. The changes in the outside world immediately attracted the attention of Lin Yi and others. Jin said excitedly, "Are we back?" Looking at the scenery outside the French window, Lin Yi frowned slightly. He could feel that a mysterious barrier appeared between the Wanchaiwu and the outside world. This is a space-time barrier he has never seen before, which contains a strong weird power. And the source of this space-time barrier comes from the black stone slab of the mobile thatched house. The power of the black stone slab makes the Wanchaiwu more ethereal, seemingly undetectable, unnoticed, and untouchable. It shielded a certain sense of existence, and some other inexplicable changes occurred. Looking at the time, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, which meant that they had been in the strange place for 3 hours. At this moment, a hazy red glow appeared again at the door of the Wanchaiwu. Dong dong dong. A gentle knock on the door sounded, neither hurried nor fast. Lin Yi frowned slightly. What he experienced today was very strange. Now that the wish shrine has been activated, there may be some changes. After thinking for a while, he looked at Absinthe. "Open the door, I want to see what else is going on." Absinthe nodded and walked to the door in a few steps. Click. The door slowly opened. A dark void appeared on the opposite side. Outside stood a humanoid creature emitting a faint silver light. He just stood there and exuded an irresistible aura. This is at least a powerful existence at the level of Tianxiandao. Absinthe had a strange smile on his face. "Welcome to the Wanchaiwu. Most of your wishes can be fulfilled here. Please follow me, guest." At this time, most of the seats in the Wanchaiwu were occupied by bounty hunters. Absinthe took the mysterious existence in front of him and sat opposite Lin Yi. "Hello, let me introduce myself. I am Lin Yi, the owner of the Wanchaiwu. You can call me Manager Lin." This mysterious existence exudes silver light all over, and it has a human body. But he has no face, and his head is a smooth face. He has no clothes on his body, and his body shape is perfect with golden ratio, and there is no gender distinction. A spiritual thought sounded in everyone's ears. "Hello, Manager Lin, I am a traveler in the void. My name is Silver Fang. I accidentally saw this door while walking in the void. When I knocked on the door, I came here. Your clerk said that most wishes can be fulfilled. I don't know what he means." Lin Yi smiled and said, "It means just as it says. I can fulfill most of the wishes you want to fulfill. The prerequisite is that you have to pay enough. The size of the price depends on your wish." The mysterious existence who calls himself Silver Fang seems to be very interested in Lin Yi's words. "Make your wish come true." I do have a wish that I want to make come true. I have a friend who has been hurt by a strange power. I'm helping him find a cure. Can you help me heal him? Lin Yi had a smile on his face, of course. But I need to see your friend first and see how he has been hurt. The reward will be determined based on the amount of power and energy you need to spend. My friend is in the Void City, which is a city in the Void built by the Void Destiny Committee. We can see my friend there. Hearing the words of the Silver Fang, Lin Yi's heart was slightly shaken. The Void Destiny Committee actually appeared again within a day. With a slight flash of light in his eyes, Lin Yi said calmly. Use your power to let me see what the Void City looks like. I can take you back. Silver Fang heard Lin Yi's words and showed a hint of surprise in his eyes. Then he slowly raised his hand, and a silver light condensed at his fingertips. The next moment, the silver light seemed to turn into a mirror, and a huge city appeared in it, floating in a dark void. The city looked so huge that it was unimaginable, and densely packed buildings appeared in the city. The city was round, like a planet, with countless towering buildings extending outward from the center of the planet. All these buildings were hundreds of thousands of meters high, and there were bridge-like structures connecting them. Faintly, Lin Yi could feel that the city seemed to contain huge power. Seeing this void city, Lin Yi nodded calmly. Okay, let's go over and take a look first. With that, Lin Yi stood up and then closed the door. Bang! After the door of the Wanchaiwu was closed, he opened it again. The outside had changed color. A huge city appeared in front of them. Lin Yi turned his head and looked at Silver Fang. Is it here? Silver Fang saw the huge city outside through the door of Wanchaiwu at this time, and his face showed disbelief. This is a huge void city, a city made entirely of dark gold metal. It is extremely developed and densely packed, with countless buildings, countless spaceships, and countless mysterious creatures constantly entering and exiting there. Silver Fang's spirit trembled slightly, and he seemed very shocked. Because he had left the Void City countless far away. It took him a lot of time. But the mysterious store manager in front of him just opened and closed the door once, and connected to the Void City from a distant place. This ability made him feel shocked. Incredible. It's really incredible. At this time, Silver Fang seemed to be completely shocked, and it took a long time to calm down. At the same time, hope rose in his heart. The man in front of him might really have a way to treat his friend. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath and looked at Lin Yi and said, Manager Lin, please follow me. I'll take you to see my friend. Lin Yi nodded, okay, let's go. With that, he and Silver Fang stepped outside. Outside was a dead void, cold and filled with chaotic energy. Now in the void, Lin Yi raised his hand and closed the door. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 846. As the door closed, the Wanchaiwu seemed to disappear from the void. Silver Fangs was surprised to see this scene. Lin Yi looked at him and said calmly, let's go. They were only about 100 kilometers away from the Void City. The next moment, the two turned into two streams of light and flew there. Lin Yi controlled his twisted evil domain and mobilized the energy in the void to allow himself to fly. At this time, the Blue Star martial arts system, after entering the void with spiritual energy, quickly began to play its own effect. Half an hour later, in a blink of an eye, the two had arrived at a port in the Void City. After approaching the Void City, Lin Yi keenly discovered that this huge city had an invisible defense barrier on the outside. This layer of defense barrier is not pure energy, but is composed of time and space. Once you enter it, you will fall into the chaos of time and space. If you don't master the power of time and space, you will be lost forever. Finally, you will become a pile of dry bones in time and space. Involving the power of time and space, Lin Yi immediately knew that there must be a powerful existence behind the Void Destiny Committee. At this time, Silver Fang said, "We will go to the port to land later. You can enter the port after registering your identity." Hearing this, Lin Yi shook his head and said, "There is no need to be so troublesome, I am just a passerby. Follow me." As he said, Lin Yi had already put his palm on Silver Fang's shoulder. As he slapped the other party, Silver Fang originally wanted to shake his hand away. But after thinking about it, he still didn't do it. At this time, a radiance of boundless destiny had enveloped the two of them. The next moment, under Lin Yi's power, they directly rushed into this layer of time and space barrier. When they were about to enter the time and space barrier, Silver Fang's excited spirit sounded in Lin Yi's mind. "What are you doing? This is a space-time barrier. We will get lost if we go in. It is said that there are countless chaotic space-times connected there." Silver Fang seemed to be anxious to break free from Lin Yi's palm. Lin Yi's voice sounded in his ears. "Don't worry, the space-time barrier has no effect on me." Silver Fang was shocked when he heard Lin Yi's words. Because only those big guys who have mastered the power of space-time can ignore space-time. They are the real overlords, and they are also incredible figures even in the Void Destiny Committee. At the moment of his hesitation, Lin Yi had already pulled him into the space-time barrier. Then he was surprised to find an incredible thing. Lin Yi and him were almost not touched by any space-time power. They simply passed through the space-time barrier of less than 1 meter. And then, they landed on the roof of a building in the port. "Okay, we're in. Let's go to your friend's house next." At this time, Silver Fang took a deep breath, with an incredible look in his eyes. Looking at Lin Yi in shock, this was the second time that the other party had brought him an incredible shock. Every time it exceeded his cognition and understanding. Who is this manager Lin? The heart was full of doubts, but Silver Fang did not delay at all. Flying to a distant place with Lin Yi. This void city is very huge. In terms of volume alone, it is almost as big as the Earth. And this city is composed of countless buildings, each of which is hundreds of thousands of meters long, and there are all kinds of beings living in it. Lin Yi can feel the dense and powerful aura here, the lowest of which is the combat power of the Earth Immortal Dao level. It is even dozens of times more powerful than the heavenly Immortal Dao level, which shocked him. There are at least tens of billions of life forms in the entire Void City. And among the hundreds of billions of lives, the lowest is the Ghost Immortal Dao. How many worlds are involved? It is simply unimaginable. Lin Yi felt like Granny Lu entering the Grand View Garden, and was amazed at everything he saw. However, he still followed Silver Fangs calmly. Soon they followed the sky roads between buildings and arrived at a slightly strange-looking building. This building was very strange, with many corners extending from the surface. It looked very strange and full of a terrifying atmosphere. Silver Fang's voice slowly sounded. "My friend was born in the demon world, which is an evil and terrifying world. This building is their headquarters in the Void City. It's called the Demon Building. All people from the demon world will gather here. This place can provide them with a certain degree of protection and a base for mutual transactions. My friend has been hiding here since he was injured. You don't look like someone from the demon world. I am a member of the Silver Light clan, from the Silver Light world, and the headquarters of our race is on the other side. However, in the war against the Weird, my friend and I formed a deep friendship. In a war, he was seriously injured in order to save me. He was injured by a weird force. It is a very special weird existence. I have found many healers in the Void City. None of them could heal his injury. The answer I got was that there is a place called the Land of Elves in the Void. There is a treasure called the Soul Flower there. This treasure can heal my friend's injury. That's why I wandered the Void, looking for the mysterious land of elves. But in the process, I accidentally met you. I hope Manager Lin can help me heal my friend, and I am willing to pay any price. Is that so? Lin Yi listened to the Silver Fang's narration of the cause and effect. A gleam of light flashed in his eyes, and he already knew the price this time. The Void City is his goal. This is also a very suitable place for the Wanchai Wu. Because it is strong enough, peaceful enough, and located in the void, not in the world, there is no fear of strange invasion. If the Wanchai Wu is here, it will be able to establish a real foundation. Countless powerful beings can become bounty hunters. And he will become a real tycoon. Lin Yi never forgets the joy of money and wealth. In life, there are wine, sex, money, and anger. Lin Yi doesn't care about wine, sex, and anger, he is only interested in money. Because wealth can solve 99% of the problems in this world. And the Void City will be a suitable place for the development of the Wanchai Wu. The Wanchai Wu will take on a large number of wishes and then publish these wishes in the Wanchai Wu. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 847. All the people from the Void City who come to the Wanchai Wu can accept tasks, fulfill the wishes of people in one world after another, and get corresponding contribution points. At the same time, they can exchange what they want here. Thinking of this, Lin Yi's heart was slightly excited. The system concept of the Wanchai Wu is the result of his years of hard work. Even now, it has not been completely completed, just a small fight. But if the Wanchai Wu can be moved to the Void City, then the system of the Wanchai Wu will be truly completed. The most critical link, the large number of bounty hunters, will promote the natural development of the Wanchai Wu. Slightly excited in his heart, Lin Yi's eyes showed a trace of determination. Various thoughts flashed through his mind. Silver Fangs has brought him to a door in this corridor. Dong dong dong. Silver Fangs knocked on the door, and soon a heavy footsteps came from inside. Click. The door opened, revealing a person with a floating breath. This man looks very similar to humans, but his skin is blue, he is about 40 years old, and has a big beard. His eyes are similar to human eyes, the only difference is that his pupils are vertical. Seeing the Silver Fangs appearing outside the door, he showed a hint of surprise in his eyes. Silver Fang, you are back. Did you find that thing? Silver Fang shook his head and said, no, but I met a mysterious man. He may have a way to treat you. Hearing this, the big bearded man showed a look of surprise on his face. Really? It's just possible, so let's try it first. At this time, Silver Fang turned his head and looked at Lin Yi. Mr. Lin, this is my injured friend. Mr. Clara. After the introduction, the three entered the room. Inside is a huge space, at least thousands of meters, but from the outside, it should be just a small room. Obviously, this should be a place like compressed space, an advanced application of space ability. Lin Yi looked at this place, thinking in his heart, it seems that the application of various technologies in this void city has reached the level of popularization. In the space of thousands of meters, the ground is uniformly pure white, and there are no obstructions around. In the center of this space, there is a cabin similar to a petri dish, and there are several stools to sit on. Besides this, there is nothing here, it is very empty. At this time, after the three people came in, Clara raised her hand and waved. The white floor tiles on the ground showed strange changes. A table and 3 chairs rose like liquid. Kekla smiled at Lin Yi, and his mental fluctuations flashed. Please sit down. The three sat down, and only heard the Silver Fangs say. Mr. Lin, this is my injured friend. But this is just his clone, his real body is still sleeping in the multidimensional space-time stop cabin. You can only use the method of pausing time to ensure that you will not be killed by strange forces. Lin Yi listened quietly, but his heart was beating slightly. The multidimensional space-time stop chamber sounds very high-end. Obviously, this is a kind of space-time power application. He immediately realized that the research on the 5 innate essences of the Void City should be very broad. It seems that there should be a lot of things worth learning here. Manager Lin, what do you think we should do now? Silver Fang asked solemnly. It's very simple. Let me take a look at his body and I will know. Hearing this, Kekla nodded solemnly. Okay, Mr. Lin, please follow me. As he said, he turned and walked towards the multidimensional space-time stop chamber in the large room. Lin Yi also stood up and followed him. Soon the two of them came to the stop chamber. There was a person lying inside who looked exactly like Kekla. I only heard Kekla's mental fluctuations flashing. Mr. Lin, this is my body. It is now in a state of time and space suspension. But the strange power is still spreading, but it has been reduced countless times. But if it continues like this, my final outcome will only be death. I don't know if Mr. Lin has any way to save me. Lin Yi looked at this time and space stop chamber, and the brilliance of the true destiny solution flashed in his eyes. In an instant, this time and space stop chamber and Clara lying inside were all exposed to his sight. All the structures of the multidimensional time and space stop chamber and the operating principles in it were revealed layer by layer. Countless material properties and operating principles were quickly analyzed by the true destiny solution, and eventually became part of the knowledge in Lin Yi's mind. Soon he realized that this multidimensional time and space stop chamber was actually just a trivial point, and a huge pipe was connected to it below. This pipe extends infinitely far and connects to a mysterious place. The power of time comes from there. This machine can be driven, which itself relies on the majestic power of time. This machine itself is a time conversion device and also acts as an amplifier. Seeing this, he knew that it was impossible to fully master this multidimensional space-time stop chamber. His eyes finally fell on Clara's body. He was surprised to find that there was a strange force in Clara's body, spreading out like a spider web. It was eroding Clara's body, and the countless erosions were spreading from the chest to the surroundings. The most dangerous thing was that Clara's soul was caught by the spreading strange force. This ghost power was not only eroding Clara's body, but also eroding his soul. In the future, when his soul and body were completely eroded, he would completely fall into a strange creature and there would be no escape. Seeing this scene, Lin Yi nodded thoughtfully. It can be treated. It's not a difficult thing, but you need to pay a price. Clara heard Lin Yi's words and showed a hint of surprise in her eyes. Being able to treat means hope. Mr. Lin, what price do you need me to pay? I will take anything of value. There is one thing I want to say first. The value of fulfilling a wish here is not equal. The richer a person is, the greater the price he has to pay. And a contract must be signed. If you violate the contract, you will die directly. Clara looked into Lin Yi's eyes, and he could feel a faint indifference. It was a disregard for everything, which made his heart instinctively tremble slightly. He had seen this kind of eyes on many powerful beings. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 848. He immediately adjusted his mindset and replied, I understand. The two returned to their respective seats, and Silver Fang looked at Clara. How is it? Mr. Lin said he can cure me, but I need to pay enough. I'm thinking, what kind of price can be exchanged for Mr. Lin to treat me? Silver Fang nodded, if you don't have enough, I have some things here that I can lend you first. Clara took a deep breath, smiled and looked at Silver Fang, let me make a list of items first. Here are all my valuable items. Soon a ball of light floated out of Clark's hand. The ball of light floated towards Lin Yi, and he knew all the information in the ball of light with a thought. There are a total of 13,000 items in it. Each of these items has a detailed description, what are their functions? Among them is the currency circulating in the void, a product called world money. World money is a very strange thing, it is made of high concentration spiritual energy. At the same time, it is necessary to inject understanding of the world into it. This understanding contains the essential information of the innate 5 ways and the 5 major rules. World money can only be integrated into the innate 5 ways, and the acquired principles cannot be integrated into it. Even if they are integrated, they cannot be circulated. Because the innate is eternal, it has an effect on countless races in the void. The value of a world coin is constant, and it contains energy and innate 5 ways information that can interfere with the stability of the world within a radius of 100 kilometers. World coins can be used as a circulating currency, as a weapon, as a supplementary material for their own energy, and even as a medium for understanding the information of the innate 5 major principles. In order to create world coins, the high-purity spiritual energy used is produced after the extraction and refining of countless spiritual energy ores. At least it must reach the outer level and be able to master the power of space before it can be manufactured. World coins are divided into 5 types, corresponding to the innate 5 major principles. Among them, the energy is the lowest and the soul is the highest. 1 soul world coin can be exchanged for 3 time world coins, 1 time world coin can be exchanged for 3 space world coins, 1 space world coin can be exchanged for 3 material world coins, and 1 material world coin can be exchanged for 3 energy world coins. The comparison of coins is 1:3, and finally 1 soul coin can be exchanged for 81 energy world coins. Seeing this special exchange method, Lin Yi felt very strange. In Clara's private collection, he has about 10,000 energy world coins, and the other 4 coins also have some, but not many. Lin Yi doesn't know what the purchasing power of this coin is in the Void City. However, he already has an idea in his mind, and he will take some of these 5 coins for research. With the ability of the True Destiny route, he can easily get energy and material world coins. Continuing to browse, a large number of products are of no use to Lin Yi. It can neither improve his understanding of the 5 innate principles, nor can it exist as materials in the Wanchai-Wu. Among them, the most attractive thing to him was a dozen complete power system inheritances, each from a different world. As time passed, Lin Yi had checked most of the more than 10,000 items. Suddenly, something caught his attention. Eternal Beacon. According to the explanation in the information, this is a marking item. It can locate any world, and no matter where in the void, you can find the direction according to this beacon. Finally, follow the beacon to find the way home, and you can feel this beacon even in a strange place. According to the above information, Clara found it in an ancient ruins. This seems to be a mysterious product with powerful spatial principles. In an instant, he had a strong interest in his heart and wanted to hold this thing in his own hands. In the end, Lin Yi selected about 100 items, all of which were very valuable. When Lin Yi told Clara that he would use these things as a reward, Clara's face became very solemn. Because his wealth was at least reduced by half at this time. He selected all the items he had, just because he was afraid that he could not persuade Lin Yi to take action. But the things Lin Yi chose did make him feel very painful. However, compared with his own life, although these expenses were painful, he could still endure it. Clara took a deep breath. These things can be exchanged. Lin Yi showed a faint smile on his face. That's good. Sign the contract. Soon, a note appeared in front of Clara. Looking at the content on the note, a message silently appeared in his mind. The moment he saw the note, he also realized what it was. Strange items. He looked at Lin Yi and asked a question. Lin Yi smiled casually in response to his gaze. Yes, this is a strange item. Clara and Silver Fang were silent for a while, and then looked at Lin Yi. Clara said, since the history of the Void City has been recorded. All those who use strange items will eventually become strange and become the vanguard of strangeness. I hope you can survive, in the future. Lin Yi smiled faintly. It's scary for you, but not so dangerous for me. Don't worry, our contract is only a one-time one. After the contract is over, you will no longer be exposed to this strange power. We have also come into contact with contract-type strange items, so we understand its characteristics. After that, Clara wrote down her name. The note ignited without wind, and a wonderful power enveloped them. Clara raised her hand and waved, and the item selected by Lin Yi appeared in front of him. Looking at the hundreds of items, Lin Yi showed a hint of joy in his eyes. Then he raised his hand and waved, and all these things were put into his sleeves. Now Lin Yi has already upgraded his guns to cannons. The clothes he wears are all magic tools he has refined himself, and storing items is just a very simple function. After collecting his reward, Lin Yi stood up. And he came to the position of Clara's body in a few steps. He raised his hand and slapped deep into the multidimensional space-time stop chamber, but the space-time power inside did not cause him any harm. Clara and Silver Fang were shocked when they saw this scene. The multidimensional space-time stop chamber is a standard artifact in almost all rooms of the Void City. Its purpose is to help all people in the Void City reduce damage. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 849. Most people in the Void City will participate in the war on the front line, which is one of the conditions for living in the Void City. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Once injured, they will withdraw and return to the battlefield after treatment. This is a place similar to a rear base. This multi-dimensional space-time stop chamber is not just what it looks like now. It is an extension of some kind of time creation, and it even keeps the power of time constant. Under this power, no power can destroy it unless it can destroy time itself. But Lin Yi in front of him completely ignored these, and entered the time stop field of the multi-dimensional space-time stop chamber as if watching a movie. Lin Yi's hand gently fell on Clara's chest. An unimaginable spiritual wave expanded in an instant, directly covering every corner of Clara's body. All the strange powers, after touching the spiritual wave, were like encountering a natural enemy. The strange power was disappearing at an alarming speed, and was directly practiced into nothingness. In just a few seconds, the strange power that had troubled Clara for quite a long time disappeared. Clara's body also woke up from her slumber at the same time. The multidimensional space-time stop cabin also slowly opened. A terrifying breath slowly rose from the stop cabin. That was definitely a power that reached the level of the heavenly immortal Deo. In terms of volume alone, it was at least 10 times that of Lin Yi's body. However, Lin Yi was not afraid. In his True Destiny solution, Clara's cultivation system had no secrets. This was a power system that purely accumulated power, and its carrying capacity for energy and matter completely surpassed the immortal cultivation system. Therefore, the volume of this cultivation system would surpass that of the immortal cultivators, but it did not have the ability of the immortal cultivators to gradually become immune to the 5 innate principles. In simple terms, Clara was on the path of power. And the immortal cultivators were on the path of immortality. Both have their merits, but no matter how powerful Clara's system is, she will die. In the eyes of those who truly pursue eternity, this is a cultivation system full of flaws. This cultivation system obviously originated from a certain world, lacking the accumulation of time. It only gained power, but ignored the true understanding of the world and did not move towards eternity. Kekla slowly woke up and recovered his peak state. Without the strange erosion, all his strength was immediately mobilized. instantly eliminated the damage accumulated in his body during this period. He looked at Lin Yi. In his eyes, Lin Yi was just a weak existence. But he did not underestimate the other party because of Lin Yi's weak breath. Just because the other party could silently eliminate the strange source that eroded him, it meant that the other party was mysterious. You know, injuries of this level require a price that he cannot afford to treat. In order to treat himself, he even searched for a large number of powerful doctors in the Void City. But only a few people were sure to treat him. Their price was simply beyond his reach, and he was already desperate. He planned to cut off his soul and body, keep apart, and give up most of his power, soul, and life. Now that he has only spent half of his assets, he has recovered to his peak state. He feels that it is all worth it. Thank you Mr. Lin for your rescue. I wonder if you can leave a contact number. Maybe we will cooperate in the future. Lin Yi looked at him and smiled slightly, of course no problem. As he said that, a note had already landed on the table, you can contact me through this note. But if you come to me, you must be prepared to pay the price. I never help others for free. Clara looked serious, I understand. Lin Yi smiled slightly, then turned and walked towards the door. A key appeared in his hand, and the key was directly inserted into the door lock. Click. The door slowly opened, and there seemed to be a rooftop outside. Lin Yi turned his head and glanced at Silver Fang and Clara, see you again if we are destined to. The door closed, and Lin Yi had disappeared into the room. Silver Fang watched Lin Yi disappear outside the door, and he naturally saw the scenery outside. Another strange item. This person has many strange items. But strangely, there is no strange power left on him. I have observed him for a long time. A mysterious expression rose on Silver Fang's face, this person gives me a hunch. His existence may break our cognition. The two talked about Lin Yi, but Lin Yi didn't care. At this time, he had appeared on the rooftop of a tall building. This is still the Void City, and he didn't plan to go back immediately. He looked at the bottom of these tall buildings, which seemed to be the bottom of this world. The boundless true destiny enveloped him, and the true destiny solution flashed in his eyes. The next moment, he had disappeared here. Like a ghost, he flew to the bottom of countless tall buildings in the Void City. Most of these tall buildings are only a few hundred meters high, and it only took a few dozen seconds. Lin Yi has already stood on a piece of metal ground. He looked around, and it was very prosperous here. Looking up from the ground to the sky, there were metal high-rise buildings everywhere, like a steel jungle. There were crisscrossing streets on the ground, with countless people passing by in a constant stream. They all had a strong and weak aura. On both sides of the street were the bottom floors of high-rise buildings, and at a glance, they were all shops. These shops were of various kinds, and most of them were completely unfamiliar to Lin Yi. At this time, he began to stroll slowly on the street like an ordinary person. He was looking for a suitable place for the Wanchaiwu. He was very interested in this Void City, which made him want to move the Wanchaiwu here. However, there were extremely powerful beings everywhere here, and it was not an easy task to move the Wanchaiwu here silently. First, he had to choose a suitable area, a place that would not be noticed. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind, and Lin Yi wandered here for an hour. But unfortunately, there was no empty shop under each large metal high-rise building. Moreover, there are well-planned and neat roads between these buildings, and there is no open space. He wanted to find a free site, which seemed impossible. Seeing this scene, Lin Yi couldn't help but frown. This is not easy. It seems that I still need to ask the local snakes here. Lin Yi wandered around here for a few hours and roughly understood some of the conditions here. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 850. First, in this Void City, everyone communicates through spiritual or mental communication, not directly through language. Because there are at least thousands of completely different races here, the result is that the language cannot be unified at all. Communication can only be carried out through direct spiritual communication. And spiritual communication is also the most direct, and there will be no communication barriers. Secondly, the shops under various metal buildings are opened by countless different races. Some are only open to people of the same race, and some are open to all races. This has created a very strong business atmosphere in the Void City. As long as you have money, you can buy almost everything. Because the planning of the Void City is very perfect, there are almost no dark alleys here, only wide and bright streets. There are no dark corners in the whole city, and everything is under the light. This arrangement and layout seems to have some purpose. Lin Yi also saw that in this Void City, there are many places with things like large GG screens. But what is played on these screen cards is not some GG program. Instead, it is a fight after another. The targets of the fight were all some kind of strange existence without exception. And the place where it happened seemed to be in pure emptiness. Lin Yi stood under a screen, looked up at the content played on it, and a trace of thought appeared on his face. At this time, the screen was playing a chase. A subhuman creature with blue light all over his body, it seemed to be a subhuman that was a bit like a wolf. His body was filled with deep blue light, and these lights turned into one blue javelin after another under his control. These javelins soared into the air and blasted forward like machine guns. 100 meters away, there was a huge strange existence with a body size of more than 10 meters. That strange existence was very ugly. It didn't look like a normal body, but something composed of countless creatures. In the middle of it were thousands of heads. These heads were of various kinds, some were human, and some were non-human. All kinds of distorted expressions appeared on their faces: anger, despair, madness. Around these heads, there are tentacles made up of arms of various creatures. You can see some black things connecting these arms together to form one weird tentacles after another. In the void, dozens of blue javelins came across 100 meters. They were very fast, and each one seemed to reach several times the speed of sound. Facing these oncoming javelins, this weird monster waved its tentacles and hit them in the air. A layer of terrifying black light covered these tentacles, and when they touched these blue javelins, fireworks exploded one after another. Each explosion covered a range of dozens of meters, and a huge impact bloomed between the two. The wolf-headed warrior emitting blue light kept flying in the void, and countless lights were sprayed from behind. At the same time, countless gun shadows kept emerging to replenish their consumption. He always kept a distance of hundreds of meters from the monster, retreating when the enemy advanced, and advancing when the enemy retreated. He kept entangled with the monster, absorbing a large amount of energy in the void and then transforming it into blue javelins. This was obviously an experienced warrior, and all his javelins seemed to have tracking ability. No matter how the monster dodges in the void, these javelins will follow it. The monster can only wave its tentacles and bear the attack of these javelins. Only a thief can be a thief for 1,000 days, but there is no one who can guard against thieves for 1,000 days. Long defense will lead to loss, which is vividly demonstrated on this monster. Puff puff puff. One mistake, and all 3 javelins have been shot in the middle of its body. Rumble. 3 huge explosions exploded in an instant, and blue sparks flashed. 3 huge holes were blown out on the monster's body, and 3 holes were vacated in the head. The monster was hit hard, and the remaining head on its body let out a terrifying roar. This roar passed through hundreds of meters of the void and even distorted the void. The blue glorious warrior, at the moment when the huge monster howled, a blue bell appeared in his hand. He shook the bell violently, and golden ripples spread out from the bell, completely covering him. The strange roar that could distort the void was directly blocked by the golden sound waves. The 2 kinds of light exploded one shock wave after another where they touched. The two kinds of ripples kept colliding in the void, but the blue light warrior never stopped. 36 javelins behind him exploded at the same time, instantly crossing a distance of 100 meters, and pierced the monster with countless distorted ripples. Boom! The huge and unimaginable chain explosions exploded at the same time. These 36 explosions instantly merged into one, turning into a blue light circle that collapsed inward. The monster could not be stopped at all, and all the remaining body was sucked into the light circle. In the end, in the blue light that collapsed to the extreme, it was finally burned into nothingness. Boom! There was another huge muffled sound, and the blue light that collapsed into a point exploded directly, turning into energy in the universe and disappearing without a trace. Looking at the battle scenes on the screen, many people on the street showed joy. General Shen Biao killed another big guy this time. The corpse of chaos broke through a line of defense at the front line, causing a lot of damage and breaking into the defense line. It has been wandering for a long time, and this time it was finally eliminated. General Shen Biao is a strong man in the outer level, so my record is justified. I don't know when it will end. Recently, the impact of the weird on the front line has become more and more intense. Many people around were talking about it after seeing General Shen Biao's victory. Lin Yi listened carefully to their words, like a silent ghost, constantly observing the void city. He started to move forward again, and he began to look for a suitable place. It was bright and open everywhere here, without any darkness. Lin Yi had been walking here for about a few hours, and almost walked around the entire core of the void city. But he still didn't see any open areas, which made him frown. It seems that settling down in this void city is not an easy task. I need to leave a coordinate here first. After all, I can come here this time because of the power of the Anywhere door and the Shrine of Wishes. Next time, it will be very difficult to come here simply by relying on the Anywhere door. First, I need to find a suitable person as a contractor. Thinking of this, Lin Yi's eyes began to focus on finding people living in the void city.